whether we want to or not, it's kind of a requirement that we wear it, but not all of us take time to think about what our clothing could mean or what has kind of evolved from the past. In 2006, Jeanette and Robert Lord stated in their book, published by the University of North Carolina Press, that fashion is used to enhance a person's social status, express the ideas and values of society, and to facilitate change. I think these are particularly apparent in the trends from the 1910s to the 1960s. So today I will be going decade by decade and explaining some of the trends and how these trends work to facilitate change, particularly in women's fashion. So we're going to start in the 1910s. This was a new era that brought about the feminist idea of the new woman. The new woman was a kind of style that defied the Victorian notions of traditional female sexuality. It was derived from concepts of bodily display and self-expression that hadn't been explored in the past. It is explained by Inav Rabinovich Fox in her 2015 book published by Johns Hopkins University Press that feminists viewed fashion as a crucial means of promoting women's independence and visibility in the public sphere. Styles that were particularly popular in the 1910s were called Oriental styles, particularly those derived from Japanese styles. They were very popular because they were able to criticize the traditional oppressive styles of the Victorian era while not being viewed as ugly or masculine. Kimonos were particularly popular because they came in a wide variety of styles, or a wide variety of sizes, and were flattering on every body type. Now, moving on to the 1920s, clothing became more exposing in it revealed more of the arms, necks, and the calves. Yi-Young Lee states in the 2003 dissertation, Controversies About American Women's Fashion, 1920 to 1945, through the lens of the New York Times, that many people were uncomfortable with women women wearing fewer undergarments and exposing their bodies in ways that were conventionally covered in the past. In this decade, many women discarded petticoats and corsets in favor of a more natural, feminine figure. Some women even wanted to bar long skirts and dresses from public areas because they were a symbol of the Victorian woman's passivity. There was one club, the City Federation of Women's Clubs of New York, that actually did bar skirts that were longer than 7 inches from the floor. Now, moving on to the 1930s, skirts became longer again, although they did stay above the ankles in most cases. The decade focused on simple lines and a natural waist with flared skirts at the ankles. Satin dresses with low backs that hugged curves were very popular, as that had never been done before. Day wear included fun patterns such as florals, plaids, and dots, and they typically fell between the ankle and the mid-calf. Bathing suits also became more revealing than they had in the past. And some people were uncomfortable with this as well, and they were restricted at places that weren't strictly the beach. In the 40s, fashion was heavily dictated by the rationing of fabric for the war. The fashion was mostly utility clothing and uniform worn by women who were working outside the house for the first time. These uniforms included a blouse and slacks or coveralls. In the summer, women wore outfits that had a bare midriff, halters, and shorts. These outfits were not always accepted and were sometimes banned in certain areas of the country. In the late 40s, after the war, when fabric was abundant again, a look became popular called the New Look, which included tight pleats with lots of fabric. Some looks even had up to 15 yards of fabric, which some people viewed as extremely wasteful. The 50s brought about a strong economy, but it also had rising prices. Jonathan Walford states in his 2012 book, 1950s American Fashion, that versatility became a popular way to counteract these high prices. Women would often buy reversible coats with sleeves that could be cuffed in order to wear them with multiple styles without having to buy multiple jackets. They would also buy suits that came with two skirts, one pleated and one straight, so that they wouldn't have to buy two suits. The coats were also very popular at the time. They were often full-skirted and were princess-lined with fur. They came in a variety of different fur types, ranging from the high-end dark mink or sable to the inexpensive capes or stoles made of mink, fox, black seal, or rabbit. Women also didn't really care about whether their jewelry was real or not. Many thought that fake rhinestones on their brooches or fake pearls on their strings were just as good as the real ones. They also didn't really mind faux fur on their jackets if it looked real and it was inexpensive. The 1960s brought about a lot more change than in the past. It was the first time that women really started wearing shorter skirts with fun patterns and colors. They also started wearing pants that were fun colors as well. Renee White, in her 2012 article published in the New York Amsterdam News, states that the 1960s were a time of freedom and expression in clothing. These styles were heavily influenced by youth culture and college students. In 2000, Constance Korosek published a dissertation, Fashion in the 1960s, Contrasts and Extremes in Fashion, Semiotics, which stated that people, especially college students and youth, use their clothing as a form of political protest. They often bought inexpensive or thrifted clothes that ignored the conformity of high fashion. Now, each decade brought about its own changes in fashion for different reasons, whether it be a raised hemline or exposed neck, whether it be for political reasons or just comfort in general. Now, think again about what you're wearing, and think about what kind of statements it could be making. And in the future, maybe think about what kind of statements you want your outfit